So over here we've got tiled. This is too small. So one of the things that we want to do is make sure it's big enough that we can quite easily trace around it. So we're going back over here to the right hand side, to the tools that are connected to the 2D pattern window. And I'm going down here to this button, which is Edit Texture 2D. It's like a little roll of fabric with a, what do you call that, checkerboard print on it. I'm going to click that. Then I'm going to click back on my rectangle. And now I can change the scale of the pattern by going up here to this diagonal button. And I can click down and drag until it fills the space. And then you can see here it seems to be zooming in annoyingly on the space between the photos. But what I want is just the image. So I'm clicking down, I've automatically moved this grain line. I'm clicking down, I'm dragging that to the center of the rectangle. And then I'm going back to that diagonal tool at the top, clicking down and dragging that up so that I can get my image to fill the whole space. And if I've gone too far, I can drag it back down again. It would also be beneficial if I could turn this image around. So I'll use this one here and I'll try and get that to sit vertically. So I need to move that again. So in order to know that we've scaled up to the right size in comparison to the body and like in comparison to the world inside the computer, we need to make sure that the size of your pattern pieces is realistic or is the same as in real life. So one of the things you can do to do that is, I mean, what would be really good is if in advance you put something that has a fixed measurement in the photo. So you could put a ruler in the photo, and that means that you can match the ruler up to a line that I'm just about to put into the photo. I'll do that actually because it'll be easier to talk about. So I'm going over here to the tools in the 2D window. I'm going down here to internal polygon / line. I'm clicking down on that, and then I'm going to draw a line on top of this vertically. So it sort of snaps where you want it to be. Clicking down on that. And then I'm pressing enter because I don't want to make a full shape, I just want a straight line. Enter. And I've got a line there. Taking its time. And then I'm going up here to the edit pattern tool, clicking on that, and then I'm clicking on my new line, and I'm right clicking it, and I'm going to go change length. And then let's say, right, so say you had some pattern pieces that were like this in your home. You could measure, let's say, from the top of the back piece to the bottom of the back piece, from here to the hem there. And let's say that's 80 centimeters. The measurement's up here in millimeters. So 80 centimeters be 800 millimeters. And then, so then we have a reference line. So I'm making my line 80 centimeters. And we know that that pattern piece needs to be 80 centimeters. So we'll go back into the edit texture. And we'll click on here. And I'll need to line it up with my new line that I've created. So you can see here it's a bit too small, so let's make it bigger. I have to keep grabbing it and dragging it. I've made it far too big. So let's click down, drag down, make it a bit smaller. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so now we know that the size is the correct size because we know that in real life, from this point to the hem, it's 80 centimeters, and we know in the computer that from this point to the hem is 80 centimeters. So now we don't mess around with the scale. We can put this back so that I can see everything. That's not quite the right size anymore, is it? I'm going to have to resize my rectangle. So I'm going up here to the transform pattern, and then I'm going to just click on it, and then just make it a little bit bigger. So that means that the pattern is getting bigger. The photo inside of the pattern shouldn't be changing. Check that again with the edit texture, and oh no, clicked and dragged and made that whole pattern bigger. It's changed the line that I drew, so I'm going to have to draw that in again. Okay, so I'm going to go back to edit pattern tool here on the 2D window. I'm I'm going to go back to that line that we drew before. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go to done. On the line, right click, change length. Where's change length? I'm going to make that 80 centimeters again, or 800 millimeters. Okay. And then we're just going to double check that the image is the same, it's still 80 centimeters tall. So I'm going to go back to the edit texture button. I'm going to click on the pattern. I'm going to move it around, and there we are. So in this world with this avatar, this pattern piece is 80 centimeters from top to bottom.